beautiful people. So, I want to share my experience today with you, as I know a lot of you are also in the midst of this incredibly intense energy, and we haven't even gotten to officially to eclipse season and the additional retrogrades that are coming through, right? And the past few days, like really the weekend, I have been feeling really strange, been having really strong, intense high highs and just as equal low lows. And it seems that it goes back and forth. It's like one day I wake up and I'm super energized and motivated and I want to do all the things and I do all the things. And then other days I am depressed and I am exhausted or anxious and I'm just like, I don't want to do anything. And somehow I still manage to do a lot, surprisingly. And I'm sure a lot of you can relate. And today was a day that I had a really amazing dream this morning. And the dream essentially has been, at least the person in the dream, the interaction has been a recurring dream connection or interaction or person in the dream. And this time around, I just felt this sense of completion, and it was like the dream and the person in the dream completely forgave me. And it was like the energy was clear and it felt really good, but I was conscious enough in the dream where, I was doubting everything and I was still questioning and, it was like too good to be true. I'm like, is this really happening? And as I said, the dream overall, it felt like completion. It felt like a clearing. And I woke up and I immediately wrote this dream down and I just really felt good. And I felt like this feeling of self-forgiveness and went about my day. And the more, like, as the day progressed, I just started feeling really tired and exhausted. And I started keeping an audio diary, as I did back in 2018. And the audio diary actually that I created it was the end of 2017 to 2018 was the period of time that I experienced my second spiritual awakening, I would say, and where I really made this declaration to myself and to spirit, the universe, that I was going to devote my life to my purpose, to this way of being and living and being connected with the divine, and just always, growing and expanding and connecting and understanding and sharing. And so that was really amazing to have all of that documented. And over the weekend, this past weekend, which is probably why it was so weird, I binged that whole, it was like 40 entries that I made. And it brought a lot up to the surface. Things that were probably like here, but now they're up to here. And it's that feeling where it's so it's at your throat. It's so ready to come out of you that you almost feel like you're going to suffocate on it, like you're going to choke on it. And a lot of the times it's you don't have words for it, or you just get choked up even talking about it. So later in the day, coming back to, this period, like I said, I started another audio diary as of Sunday, and that being March 2nd. And today I was making an entry in my new audio diary about the dream. And it was interesting when I started talking about the dream, I started to cry and get really emotional and doubting myself, and it was just this weird experience of I thought I was over this. I thought I felt completed. And I just felt this wave of heavy emotions, of feeling depressed, of feeling just, this grief. And that was all at the surface level. And beneath, at the deeper parts of myself, I felt the excitement and the joy and the eagerness and, just really happy of what's to come and the new opportunities that I've already been receiving. And so I knew that I have to release this emotion that's at the surface, or integrate it, transmute it in some way, just be present with it in order to reach this deeper layer of excitement and joy and, just optimism. And stick with me here, because there's a really good message that I think will be a benefit for you, that was a benefit for me today in this really intense time. And as I said, my emotions are ebb and flowing. I feel a bit crazy, and my dreams have been completely different than my waking experience for the most part. At least the past week, I've been feeling like joy and happiness in my dreams, and then I would wake up and I'm like, that's not what I'm experiencing in waking life, right? And of course, there's the integration process. And so I knew that I have to deal with these emotions that are at the surface. So everything inside of me wanted to distract myself, wanted to do my work, which is a blessing that my work is fun and it's my passion, and that always puts me in a higher place and I can kind of escape whatever it is that I need to deal with. But I knew I listened to my inner being, which was to just be present with this energy. But I also couldn't lay down. So it's like, I got to move. I got to do something. So I just naturally started cleaning. I pulled out some old toys for my daughter, and then we pulled out some books for school. And then I started looking at my bookshelf, and I came across 2 books that were really powerful and supportive for me on my journey back in 2017, 2018. And I opened one. I got came across a really nice excerpt or writing and declaration that just felt like this is where I am now. And I actually shared it on my story on Instagram. And so, I felt really good about that. And I felt complete with that book. And so then I came across this book that I recommend to all of my clients and my friends who are wanting to feel this calling to channel or to connect with their spirit guides or the universe, just to channel in that energy and open themselves up to their spirit guides and their higher self. Opening to channel is such an incredible resource. I love this book. It's so grounded. It's so thorough and just very true, and it's just amazing. And so I pulled this book out, and this book, I get so excited when I think about this book, when I touch this book. And I pulled it out and started going through the contents to see what stood out to me. And I realized there was a part in this book that I didn't remember reading or reviewing or anything. And it was basically the part in the book where it's like, okay, you've opened yourself to channel. Now what? What can you expect? How is this experience, and the like? And so I was like, I think I should probably read this, because, there's been a lot going on, and I never, I opened myself up to channeling. And back in 2017 and 2018 is when I quit my job. So this was January 1st, 2018. I was not working. I was just doing this full time and just discovering myself and, just seeing what was there for me to learn and to share. And so every day, for the most part, I would wake up and drop into deep trance, and I would open myself up to channeling and to connecting with my guides. And I had an incredible experience, and it's all documented in this audio diary. And I'm so happy and grateful that I decided to record that, because it's different. Writing it is one thing, and speaking it and then listening to yourself talking about it, it literally took me there. Anyways, I opened up this book, and I essentially saw exactly what I needed to read and hear right now. It was words of comfort, words of wisdom, and a voice of reason. And everything about this message was give yourself grace and compassion. And again, this was something that I already knew, but it's when you hear it outside of yourself, even not from a friend, from, an objective source, that being a book or someone you don't know, or a video you're watching, it just hits deeper, and you're listening, and it clicked. And so what was shared in the book was that it was a reminder of when you open yourself to channel, And not just when you open yourself to channel, when you're on a spiritual journey in itself. So you're opening yourself up for this deeper understanding, this connection to the divine, and just this like high level of awareness. When you open yourself up in that way, it's a lot, right? You're taking in a lot of energy. It is a very high vibrational experience, and it is incredibly transforming from the inside out. And once you expand your consciousness in that way, you can't close it back up, right? Once you know, you can't unknow. And when you open yourself up, there's a moment in time for that. Basically, there's the integration period, I guess is what I'm trying to say, if I can use my words right. There's the integration period that's so important. And this integration period is not, easy, because with the integration period, what comes is a lot of the times, well, firstly, your inner being, your inner self, your inner world is going through this deep transformation. So much is changing within you because you're really, and it's almost not like you're changing, but you are understanding yourself more. You're understanding yourself in relation to the divine and nature. And so all of that within you, and you're feeling that, and you're taking in that energy, it only makes sense that everything outside of you is having to change as well, right? And so there's the as within, so without. So as your internal self, your internal world is changing and expanding, you're going to see that shift in your external world. And this is the experience where, you leave your job, which is what I did back in 2018. Relationships come to an end, right? You're just not on the same wavelength. And it could be family, it could be, romantic relationships, it could be, friendships, but you're not on the same wavelength. And there becomes the discord because in our minds, we don't want to release that, right? And our inner child is wanting to hold on to that comfort, right? It's like, this is the unknown. It's like, what are we doing here? No, I can't leave this job. I need to pay bills. I need to do X, Y, Z. Like, this is crazy. Or I can't leave this relationship. Like, we have children, or we have all of this, intertwined, right? And this is my partner for life. Like, it doesn't make sense, or even with food and diet, you don't want to, you don't want to change your diet because the way we eat has a lot of comfort and emotional attachment to it above so many other things, right? Tradition, cultural things. And so there is this almost like panic and fear, right? And there's this resistance. And so in the book, it like really spoke to that. And it said, this is natural. This is a natural occurrence. And what was the biggest, most profound but simple way, or a simple message, was that it takes time. Like, there's no set time limit on how long this period is, this integration period, right? Because this is a lot that's happening. You're taking in a lot of energy, your frequency is raising, and your external world needs to calibrate to that, right? So there are a lot of changes that you have to do as well, and that will happen just naturally. So people will come in and out of your life. As I said, you'll change your diet, and there's some things, when you're working in alignment and flow with that, then it will be a lot more easeful than if you are resisting the entire thing and wanting to shut yourself off. Then there's going to be a lot there. And so this is so interesting because I had an aha moment where it's like I had that experience in 2018. I had my child at the end of 2019, and I haven't really felt the same since probably 2019, before I even had my daughter. Probably, honestly, before I got pregnant. And I felt like, even like the past couple years, I've been coming more back into myself and back into my spiritual practices on the level that I was, that I did my practices, I guess you could say, the way I was living my life. And now I feel like I'm coming back into that. And I just feel like there was this intermission, there was this like break in between, and it makes so much sense that whole period, and I'm still in that period where it's the integration. And it's like the integration period where you're living might not even resonate anymore. Like once you open yourself up, right? And once you expand your consciousness and level of awareness and your, intuitive abilities and emotional sensitivity, where you're living might not even resonate anymore, which is a lot. You're just like, I just got to get out of here. And literally up until this moment, I knew in my core that this wasn't truth, but I felt like I started feeling like something was wrong with me, that I was starting to be really upset with myself. And I realized this, just reading this, like, I think it was like a page and a half, just really allowed me to have forgiveness for myself and to have grace for myself, because for some people, it might be like a short 3 months and it's like, okay, I've done all the things and, now I'm expanding even more. Or for some people, such as myself, and I'm a slow mover. I got Saturn right on this ascendant in Scorpio, and I got a lot of Capricorn. It takes some time. And so, I mean, what is this, like 2017, 2025? That's like 8 years. Right? I would say maybe the intermission period, the integration period was 2019 to like 2025. So what is that, 6 years? So, or did I do my math right? Yeah, 6 years. So yeah, it really takes time. So the message is just to have grace and compassion for yourself when we're in these moments of transformation, of integration. We're opening ourselves up to so much, like to this high frequency energy, and we are expanding our consciousness. And it's interesting because I also had this moment today where I was like, I feel like the world is against me. Like, I have my community, I have my people, but you know what I'm saying? Like the consensus, the 3D, if you want to call it that, like it feels like the secular aspect, the other side is like literally it's getting stronger. And it's like, as we're growing and expanding, it's like that's getting more intense and just like it's, out for me. And it's just coming for me in some way. So this is what I really wanted to share. So please have compassion and grace for yourself. You are not on any kind of time limit. It will happen in the way it's meant to happen. Trust yourself, trust your choices, trust your intuition. Above all else, trust your intuition and just keep moving forward, right? Just take the small actions that you can take and breathe and forgive yourself and just have compassion. And I think that's everything. That's all that I wanted to share. And so I hope when this message finds you, because this is absolutely a timeless message, but I hope when this message finds you, that it really gives you the peace and the forgiveness and the grace that you so deserve.